We sent them to fight our war. Now their families are trapped, and we are to blame. Hi, I'm Nate Charles, and welcome back to the Rule of Law Brief. When the United States went to war in Afghanistan, we didn't fight alone. We built a partner force. We trained them, we equipped them, we vetted them, and we fought alongside them. And some of the most effective fighters in that war were Afghan special operators, commandos, and special forces who worked directly with U.S. special operations forces. These were not peripheral guys. These were the men kicking in doors with us at night. These were the men taking casualties with us, and these are the men the Taliban learned to fear. But now there's a problem. The United States created a pathway to protect Afghans who worked for us, the Special Immigrant Visa program, or SIV program. But to qualify, you generally had to work directly for the U.S. government, or one of its contractors. And Afghan special operators, by and large, did not. On paper, they worked for the Afghan government, not the U.S. government. So legally, they didn't qualify for an SIV. But in reality, they absolutely worked for us. They were manned, trained, equipped, and deployed in support of U.S. and NATO missions. We vetted them, we trusted them, we fought with them, side by side. And even more importantly, they trusted us. That's not indirect support. That is partnership in war. And now we are telling those same men, you didn't technically work for us, so you don't qualify for our help. That's not just a legal distinction. That is a moral dodge, because the Taliban doesn't care about those technicalities. The Taliban cares about who you fought side by side with, and these men fought side by side with us. Here's what most people don't understand. A lot of these guys actually did make it to the United States. But because they didn't qualify for an SIV, many of them had to apply for asylum instead. An asylum works very differently from an SIV. With an SIV, you bring your family with you immediately. You arrive here alone. First, you have to apply for asylum, and that process can take years. Then, if and only if you win your asylum case, can you even apply for family reunification. So what does that mean? It means that a lot of these Afghan special operators have been sitting in the United States for almost 5 years, separated from their wives, their children, their families. And just as many of them started going through that process, the policy environment shifted with the election of Donald Trump. Restrictions tightened, scrutiny increased, pathways narrowed. And these guys were swept up in that process. So what you have now is men who fought alongside U.S. forces, including me, made it to the United States and followed the law. And they are still separated from their families 5 years later. 5 years. And there are a lot of people out there who are going to listen to this and wave their hands and say, it's not our problem. Actually, it totally is. This isn't just a humanitarian problem. This is a national security problem. Because the next time U.S. Special Operations Forces deploy, whether it's to Africa, Iran, somewhere else in the Middle East, or somewhere we're not even talking about yet, we're going to do what we always do. We're going to operate by, with, and through local partner forces. And those partner forces are going to ask themselves one question. Can we trust the Americans? Not necessarily on the battlefield, but after the battlefield. When the war ends, when the cameras leave, can we trust the Americans to take care of us? And right now, the answer to that question is getting worse and worse by the day. And people are watching. Future partners are watching. Adversaries are watching. And the message that we are sending right now is this. We will fight for you when we need you, but when it's over, you're on your own. And that is one of the many ways in which Trump's policies are degrading our ability to build alliances before the next conflict even starts. Now, let me put this into terms that Trump and his allies can maybe understand. You think the entire world is transactional? If you think every policy decision boils down to what you think you could get out of it, ask yourself this. How do you make a deal with somebody who knows they can't rely on you? How do you get a loan when your credit is garbage? We need to fix this. Not eventually, now. And if Donald Trump can't be trusted to do it, Congress has to. Because this problem exists in a gap between what the law says and what actually happens on the battlefield. So here's the ask. Call your member of Congress. Call your senators. Tell them, we need a legislative solution to reunite Afghan special operators with their families. We need a pathway that reflects the reality of the conflict that we fought. Not technicalities. And we need it now. This is not just about immigration policy. It's about our credibility in the eyes of our foreign partners all over the world. It's ultimately about trust. It's about whether the United States keeps faith with the people that fight our wars. These men stood with us, they bled with us, and they became targets because of us. And the idea that they are still, 5 years later, separated from their families because of legal technicality is not defensible, it's not strategic, and it is not morally acceptable. Fix this.